now while she was two-timing me, making clothing and selling her activewear around the world. But that's all good. I met Eva in April of 2016, and I work for Chorus Entertainment, the company Eva worked at for many years. And on my first day walking into Shaw Media at the time at 121 Bloor, I was lost. It was dark. I didn't know anyone. The perfect environment for Eva Marlow to step in and to thrive and to make someone feel warm and welcome, to put her arm around me and say, right this way, it's going to be okay. That was sort of the way I always saw Eva. I thought I was special at the time, but that's the way she treated everyone I ever encountered in the work environment. A couple of funny stories with Eva. Feels like a G-rated crowd, but also I'll be careful here. But that first day and week when I was meeting Eva, I was boss, which I hate that word. We collaborated together over many things, building a business together. But I was staying at the Four Seasons right near 121 Bloor Street, and I hadn't officially started, so I was meeting people privately. So I invited Eva to meet me at the Four Seasons, and we're sitting there, and she says, "You know, Mike, only guys meet prostitutes here, and I'm not that kind of girl." And if we know Eva, you can only imagine how that rolled off her tongue pretty easily. She was a dynamic leader. Many of the people I've talked to, more so around her retirement from Chorus, said that she was the best boss she ever had. She, in many cases, trained complete strangers, made them feel, helped them understand how software was going to be implemented, how to sell our products. A very difficult job. Think about your substitute teacher coming into high school. But Eva did it with a dramatic flair, the laughter we all can hear in our heads right now, and always with a smile on her face and never leaving until the job was done. She was an incredible partner in crime for me. I love her dearly. I enjoyed talking to her both during work while she was two-timing me and then also while she was living in Florida. She's one of the best people I've ever met, and I miss her dearly. And it's a privilege to be here with all of you today.
Thanks, Mike. This first chance I get to see you, but I heard so much about you over the years, and Eva had a ton of respect and loved working with you, for you, and thanks for making her time there. So positive and so special.
Well, it's a great saying, you get what you give.
Yeah.
She gave a lot.
Anyone else feel free to jump in. I was worried with Eva's friends we'd all be talking over each other, knowing Eva, but feel free to jump in. We'd like to hear from as many folks as possible.
I think we're all sitting here in silence waiting for Eva to take over the conversation, and she always did. We're lost without her.
Yeah.
Hi. Hello.
Hi, Tila.
Hi, everybody. So nice to see all of you. I was very saddened to hear of Eva's passing. It took me a while to sort of come to grips with, like people have said before, the persona. There was so much to her. When I first met her was in the late 80s at Muskoka Woods, and we became fast friends and enjoyed a lot of shenanigans together. And she made me a better person for being with her. I gained more confidence when I was with her. She inspired me with her aura that she had. She just had a special something that we all know that made you just want to be with her and get to know her better. We spent a lot of good summers together, and I traveled to Montreal and visited with her when she was going to university there, and shared a lot of laughs. We lost touch a little bit over the years, but always maintained the ability to get in touch with each other and pick up right where we left off with the help of gatherings at Julian's house when she was in town. I got the chance to see her and be with her. So I want to thank you all for sharing your moments with us, and I can see and hear her through your words. So thank you very much, and I miss her a lot. I put some pictures up on Julian's post of Eva, if you want to take a look at some of them. I couldn't figure out how to do it here, but there was a lot of them. This was one of her and her mom. It was so nice. At the marina up in Rosso. It was just perfect summers. So, thanks.
Hi there, I'm Amy. I was lucky enough to meet Eva a little over 5 years ago when we held our first book club at a bookstore we opened in Cocoa Village. And she was there at our very first book club, and Eva was a part of our lives the minute we met her. I have since grown to, I consider her a very good friend of mine, and my wife, same. I was on the board with her for the Cocoa Village Association, and I got to enjoy how much she cared about the people in this community and how much she just loved helping people. Like, she was all about empowering other business owners, helping other women just do the best they can do and be the best they can be. And I have never, and probably will never, experience another cheerleader like Eva. Loved her very much. I'm going to miss her immensely.
This is Roxanne Kennedy. I met Eva about 3.5 years ago, but at first I met Steve. He told me to go find Eva and start cycling with her. And that's how I met most of my friends when I moved to Cocoa Village a little over almost 4 years ago. So I'm forever grateful to Steve and Eva for having helped introduce me to some great friends, and it became family. And Eva was like family instantly, as Amy had said, and others. And I'm grateful to be here today because we knew Eva from Cocoa Village, and now we get to hear about and see, and hear from all those who knew her for much longer than those of us in the village have. But she's left a huge hole in our community, and we're really missing her every day. I think I speak for most. But I just want to let y'all know that Eva, there was 4 of us with Eva when she passed, so she didn't pass alone. We were with her, holding her hand, and making sure she made it to whatever's next as peacefully as she could. So thank you for having me today, and for the rest of her Cocoa Village friends. There's several of us on here, so I appreciate you inviting us today and allowing us to be a part of this as well.
Thanks very much, Roxanne. I want to personally thank Roxanne, as unfortunately I was in Europe when Eva got ill, and Roxanne really was an anchor that I communicated with. She kept me up to speed on things, and we made difficult decisions together. And I can't thank you enough, Roxanne, and you and the other folks that were there at the end, comforting Eva. I know for all of us that loved her, really appreciated. And then I think you're instrumental in organizing a celebration of life for Eva in Cocoa Village, I think within about a week after her passing. And it was nice to meet you a couple weeks ago, and I was down and, share the stories. And I think you said there were about 100 folks, including the mayor of Cocoa, village in attendance. So thanks so much for all that you've done and, over the last couple of months.
Thank you. And Amy and her wife are very instrumental, as well as some others on the phone. So I'm not taking all the credit for that. And the community came together and everyone celebrated Eva, and just the great force that she is. And as Amy said, the cheerleader she was to everyone she met.
I'm wondering if I might go. My name is Linda. I'm going to keep my camera off. I'm hoping you can hear me.
We can. Thanks, Linda.
Okay. There's a couple of us who knew Eva many, many, many moons ago, and it's funny how learning of her passing, it felt like I saw her yesterday, and I haven't seen her in years. And immediately the thoughts that came up for me were the vibrancy and the, oh my gosh, that laugh and that the colorfulness of who she was and what she brought. And I was a work colleague. So anytime Eva was in a meeting, I knew we were going to be bad. We were going to have some hijinks. We were going to laugh. We were going to get ourselves in trouble. And I can remember a meeting where the two of us had to leave the room because we were laughing so hard at something that happened, and nobody else understood what we were laughing at. And I'm not sure I should tell the story to this day, but let's just say somebody across the aisle tables, there was no privacy screen, and I caught Eva's eye, and the two of us just lost it. So the memory of Eva is big. The thought that she's with us right now, I don't know who said that, is big. She is here, and she's loving the stories, and she's loving that we're remembering her, and she's sorry we're sad. She wouldn't want that. So I'd like to close off with, if you don't mind, it is a poem that I go to. It's short, don't worry, it's not a book, but it's an ancient Sanskrit poem that gives me comfort when there's sadness, and it also brings me comfort when there's joy. There's joy in having known Eva. There's sadness that we'll only be able to remember her in pictures and not in video anymore. Hope to get through it. But it's called Look to This Day, for the life of life. In its brief course lie all the verities and realities of your existence. The bliss of growth, the glory of action, the splendor of achievement are but experiences of time. For yesterday is but a dream. And tomorrow is only a vision. And today well lived makes yesterday a dream of happiness, and every tomorrow a vision of hope. Look well, therefore, to this day, such is the salutation to the ever-new dawn. My apologies.
Thanks, Linda.
I speak. Sorry, I muted myself. Can you hear me? I'm on my phone. I'm never on Zoom on my phone. You can hear me?
Can hear you.
That was beautiful. Thank you. I love that salutation to the dawn. And just such an honor to be here with you all in loving memory, remembrance of our dear beloved Eva. I have to say, when I think of Muskoka Woods in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, I always think Eva and Tila. Eva and Tila, and I have many memories of the booming energies and shenanigans, such a good word. And I guess what I want to say is in my remembrance of Eva, the heights of her exuberance and zest for life and energy were matched by the depths of her heart and her soul, and the way that she really did make each one of us feel so special in every way. And her presence with you when she was there huge. And I got in touch with her even more in the last few years, possibly because we were doing some similar things in what she was doing in Florida and what I've been doing in the center we're at in Costa Rica. And she'd message me and she's like, "You're doing a new moon thing. I'm doing a new moon thing." And we'd share around that and the yoga elements and just sharing so many really loving inspirations with each other. So I feel extra grateful for these past years of the sharing that we had with each other and just honoring the fullness of her. And I definitely feel like the world is a little quieter without her. And definitely feel that she is with us, and her spirit is eternal. Just love her to bits. So thank you all. And again, I'm honored to be here and to hear all the stories and just feel all the loving emotion around how much we adore her and the sadness around her passing from this earth. Thank you.
Maybe I could give the British perspective of Eva.
Hey, Jules.
Hello there. So I'm Julian Parker, and I met Eva 35 years ago in Muskoka. So we have a cottage on Lake Rosso, and pretty much in the same weekend, I met all of the Swifts and Eva and the Scarf Brothers, and it was the start of a very interesting youth, and part of my youth. A youth that started with Eva's voice. I will never forget hearing the voice. I think it may have been at a party at the Scarf's house, probably about 3 a.m. And I should think you could hear it in Parry Sound, to be honest. But sadly, I fell out of touch with Eva. I probably haven't spoken to her in 20 years. However, those memories of Muskoka run deep, of us tearing up the lake. There was a point where I'm fairly sure I was accused of separating her shoulder on a tube. I'm not sure it was entirely my fault, but I've always been held to it. But perhaps the story that I recall the most is one year I decided that I should invite Eva to come and visit me in the UK. And that may not have been the best decision. You have to imagine that we are a family of stiff upper lip, fairly starchy Brits, and she came over, and I thought, right, I need to introduce you to the English Country Pub. And for any of you that have done the trip to the UK, you'll know that the English Country Pub is a place where you sit around a table with your pint of beer, and you chat and have conversations, and there is barely a murmur in the place. And then I introduced Eva to that concept. Turns out she didn't have hushed, muted tones whatsoever. It was quite the experience for this pub and several others. All I can share is I took her to several pubs. I didn't dare go back to any one twice.
Amen.
Those are my memories of Eva.
Good to see you again.
And you.
That's great, Jules. That's actually a perfect follow-on for me. I was trying to think of what specific story to share. There are so many, but you twigged me that it's not so much a specific story, but a pattern of stories. By the way, I'm Julian, and I met Eva, I think, in 1986 or 1987, way back when. Oh, and Tila, you mentioned you uploaded some pictures. I I just wanted to share this. Can you all see that? Wow. So I've never seen this picture before, but this is from an era, a bygone era, for sure. I don't know. I think I look early 20s there, maybe. I don't know. Long time
Such
ago.
A beautiful smile.
Thank you. Anyways, I'm not somebody who anybody worries about whether I'm going to be shy or speak up for myself or have any trouble making friends. But that said, I was never in her league, and no one ever will be when it comes to those things. And it's interesting because we've got a lot of people on the call this morning from Florida who, aren't as connected to our Muskoka group. And anyways, I recently moved to another part of the world, and moving somewhere entirely new is not an easy thing. And it's interesting. I often do think, I'm often in situations where it's like, I'm new and I got to make friends. And well, you think of your friend Eva a lot in those situations. So anyways, I've known Eva a long time, been involved in a lot of the shenanigans, which I think will be the word of the day here. Follow on your story, Jules, what I think of most isn't any particular story, but just the number of, if anybody's ever been on a patio of a pub with Eva, that's how I'll always remember her, because she made friends whether people wanted to make friends or not. Four strangers sitting 1, 2, 3, or even 4 tables away would be friends with Eva within about 10 minutes of showing up in any pub. And I sat at on a lot of patios with Eva over the years and made a lot of unsuspecting friends sitting in those places. So anyways, that's definitely how I remember her. And again, I think of her often as I navigate a part of my life where I'm just thrown into rooms with people I don't know. It's like, just be like Eva, it'll work out. So I do my best, but nobody can quite match her in that scenario. That's for sure.
I also have lots of fun memories of driving around in her Wagoneer.
Oh yeah.
Back in the day. She really liked to drive fast in those backcountry roads. She knew exactly where she was going, and I felt 100% safe.
Oh, that's a great lie. I love it. So for all the Muskoka people who can remember, I'm pretty sure. So we would get a day off from our summer camp job, and there was this. Keely, you're talking about the Aspen Road from Marlow to Huntsville, which is a treacherous piece of road, and sometimes it's amazing that we're only at a funeral now the way we drove that road. My gosh.
Hello.
Hey, Bobby.
Hi, Steve.
Hey,
It's
Maureen.
Hi. So here we are at the shop, and that's
Hey,
exactly, here Brad's here too. Exactly how we met Eva, of course, was because you and Eva were just a couple of doors down. And I think it's just a pretty common theme. What everyone has said is once you met Eva, you became fast friends. And it was immediate, and it was a pretty deep friendship. And, there's so many memories and so many stories. And the bike. Eva got me back into riding the bikes with Roxanne and the Village Genies, and we would get together. Yeah. And I am not a serious bike rider. I had my little road bike, and Eva's got the clip-ins, and she's a serious biker, and sometimes the two of us would ride together down to the end of Rockledge Drive, and I'm pedaling as hard as I can, and she's like not even winded, and she would talk the entire way. Yeah. Literally all the way to the end of Rockledge Drive and back. And sometimes I would have to say, I heard that story once before. But that was Eva. She was just full of life. She loved to share. She was so supportive of mostly the women in the community, women in business, and she always had a great idea. She wanted, to move to the next step, and she was in another phase of her life where she was trying to move forward with the Aloha Life Gear, and it's a shame that we had to say goodbye to her so early, and she is missed and will be missed for a long, long, long time.
And I just want to weigh into, I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm going to nonetheless, so stop me when it's appropriate. But in addition to being a dear friend, she was a very outspoken, go figure, member of the Historic Cocoa Village Association board. She brought a lot of ideas in. She had a lot of great thoughts, ways to do things that maybe we hadn't thought of before, or new directions to go. And she was a great contributor to our community at that level. So in addition to just being a great friend and a great person to go have lunch with and hang out with, she was actively involved in making it a better place too. So Eva, we miss you.
Yeah, for sure. And Greg, it was nice meeting you down here a couple weeks ago. I'm so glad I got to do that.
True. That as well.
Hey, Greg.
I guess I'll jump in. I could be on for ages. Eva has been part of my life for 42, 43, 44 years, I guess. And, it started off pretty tough. She had just lost her dad, who she was very close to, living down in Pensacola and enjoying the Florida life. And they relocated up to Rosso, which anyone that's been in Rosso, it's not Pensacola in pretty much every way possible. And I had just lost my mother. So, we were both, I think Eva was probably 11, I was 13, and we were both grieving, and it was a tough time. But when our parents got married, I guess about 40 years ago, and even I had been friends even before that happened, but we obviously grew together closer, enjoyed each other's company. Initially, she went to school at Ross Lake College, which is where I went to. For those that know Eva, she's not too fond of the winter and the cold, so she would typically try and get anywhere south. So I ended up going to school at Branksome, and then at Ridley, which is about as far south in Ontario as you can go. But I think without getting into too many stories, I think one of my favorite hijinks was, I think when Eva was at Branksome Hall, they had a rather strict headmistress at school, and we had gotten her mother's credit card and decided that we were going to go out for a little pre-semi-formal dinner at a Chinese food restaurant. Well, this is ages ago, before photo ID and so on, and then we all somehow managed to get served, and that's where we spent the semi-formal, was at the Asian food restaurant. So I can't remember, I think the bill was $700 or $800, and probably we had some dumplings and maybe $50 or $75 in food, and the rest went otherwise. But yeah, we had quite an evening and quite a time. And then Eva went to University of McGill, and at that period I was in the military, and I was so fortunate to get stationed about 45 minutes away from Montreal, Saint Jean-sur-Richelieu, where I was learning French, and and it worked quite well because I think I was 21, 22, and Eva was in a sorority at McGill. So as much as I loved her, I tried to pay frequent visits to the sorority, and I think it's the only time, it is the only time in my illustrious military career that I was AWOL, as I had gone in on, I think, a Thursday night and had gone out with Eva and her friends. And of course, you're supposed to be back on base and doing your thing on the Friday morning. And I woke up in the, sorority house at, I don't know what time it was, but it was Friday morning. And so, of course, I panicked and was running around. I got back to base and thought, oh, maybe no one will notice that I was missing. Of course, I stepped on the elevator, and the first thing someone said is, "Oh, you the young guy that everyone's looking for?" Oh, geez. So, yeah, that was purely Eva. Well, it was obviously my fault, but when we got together, we had a lot of fun and a lot of great memories. I think the other good times were, I would drag her out skiing or cross-country skiing, that is, or snowshoeing. And I think, Steve, probably the last time we went out was just before you moved to Florida, and you'll probably remember this. And I just had Eva on a call a couple months ago with a friend of mine, and she was complaining about how I like to walk, 20, 30,000 steps, etc. I always want to see around what's around the next corner. And Eva would always get at me because I said, no, let's just go over the next ridge or around. So I think if you remember, Steve, we'd been out a couple hours. It was cold, snowy, and Eva finally, I think, just sat down and said, "That's it. We're going home." I'm like, "No." She's like, "No." Yeah, we had a lot of good times together, and really support each other through the good times. I think we had, when Steve and Eva moved down to Florida, I guess about 8 years ago, I think, Steve, we had a house on Marco Island just south of Naples, and it was always such a pleasure when Steve and Eva would come down and spend time. Eva would always come with everything, including the kitchen sink. She loved to cook, loved food, so she always came bearing all sorts of gifts. But we had a lot of special times. I think probably, Steve, we were just talking about it. I was down a couple weeks ago when we went to the Panthers-Leaf game when we met you in Sunrise, Florida, and we met at the hotel, and the four of us went to the game together, and we went back, and for those that know cards, we played euchre, I think, till the wee hours, and had a lot of laughs. But yeah, it's tough. She was the closest I was to anyone in my family. Like I said, we both had our share of ups and downs, and I think we're always there for each other. I'm really thankful. The last couple of years, I had a very heavy travel job. I was traveling weekly around the globe, and so we didn't get to see each other too much. But I was so fortunate. I was able to squeeze a weekend in and go and see Eva in May in Cocoa Beach. And yeah, it's really special. Went out for a great dinner on the Friday night. And then Saturday, I dragged her on one of my infamous walks. I think we walked the beach 3-4 hours, probably 10, 15 kilometers. Her talking to me the whole time and complaining mostly the whole time as well. And then I had another great dinner. And, I don't take a lot of pictures, and I don't know why, but I asked the fellow at the restaurant to take a picture of Eva and I. Certainly not thinking that would be the last picture that I ever took with her. But, yeah, I miss her. And, I just want to thank everyone because, Steve and I went through when Eva was ill 4 years ago. And, Steve was at her bedside. I was down in Florida for 2 months, I think, Steve. It was a tough time, and we thought she rounded the curve, but apparently not. And I think as I talked to Roxanne and Bobby and others, I think for better or worse, I think Eva wanted to leave us, and this was her way to do it. So as hard and difficult as it is, I believe that she's happier where she is. I think sadly she took care of others more than she took care of herself. But I want to thank everyone for the great memories, and to hear the stories and the lives she touched from my professional life to Muskoka Woods to, certainly Cocoa Village, where you'd think she had lived a lifetime down there, and she's been down there 8 years, and such an intricate part of the community. But she's a special woman. I miss her every day, and I'll continue to think of the good memories we had together, and she's here. So thanks very much. Would anyone else like to say anything?
Hi, Greg. It's Nadine and Mama Miller. Hi. And we just wanted to share that we've had such awesome times with Eva. We were fortunate enough to meet her from Muskoka Woods, and then she, I guess, took us under her arm and said, "You will travel with me." So we had a travel agent in Eva. And then when she left me alone, when she found Steve, I never traveled again. But I still love you, Steve. No, just So she was kind enough to take us to the Mayan Riviera, Cozumel, Panama, and Costa Rica. So this girl traveled, let me tell you. And she did it with style, and she did it with flair, and she didn't mind us two lamos hanging out with her. No. But we would go to bed at 9. Yes. And then what would happen after that? We didn't know. But we always met for dinner. Yes, we would always meet for dinner, and then we would occasionally meet for breakfast, but not always. Eva's not a morning girl. I don't know if you knew this.
Yeah.
You knew that? Nadine and I liked the shade. Yes. And Eva liked the sun. So we'd sort of, read, and Eva would go off and have fun. Yeah. And we knew on all those trips that one day she'd be living in the sun. There's just no hope for snow. That was not her thing. So and it was always at Christmas time we went away, which was lovely. The other little thing I noticed, Steve, you're sitting in a green room.
Yes.
Well, yes. Before Steve, there was Nadine and Eva. She'd be like, "You know how to paint?" I said, "Yeah, I do." She goes, "Excellent. I have a whole house." I'm like, "Oh, dear Lord." I said, "Look, I'll work for food." And she was a good cook. So we'd paint a room, we'd eat a dinner. We'd paint a room, we'd eat a dinner. So she got free labor. She's no dummy. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to miss her forever. And I think it's her laugh. That laugh will live with me forever. Yeah. And she would come and visit here. And I have to say, Eva was so generous, that's it. She'd always bring like the best crackers, the best cheese, and we all just appreciated her. And all the best to you, Steve.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The only thing I wanted to mention, Nadine, that I failed was, Eva was an amazing cook.
Yes.
The only problem was that I always, of course, she would cook and I would clean, and my gosh, every frying pan and every pot in the kitchen. I mean, I think if it took her an hour to cook, it would take me 2 hours to clean up. I mean, I'm like, hey, let's maybe get takeout.
There you go, safer, yeah.
She learned that from me. Her favorite story in our relationship, the one she always told, was, I worked at some fancy restaurants early in my late teens and early 20s, and got into cooking pretentious food before the rest of us joined in. And I had a little party at the Department of Toronto and eons ago, and our friend Carrie was there, and for some reason Carrie and I had a fight, but I had just finished making a roux. And anyways, we disappeared to have some heavy, to try and work out this tip with Carrie, and Eva was like, the kitchen seemed like a bit of a mess, so I tried to clean up. And I'm like, where's my roux? And, you know, again, anybody cooks, the roux looks an awful lot like a dirty pan. But what blew my mind, and I'll always remember, was that era of her life, I don't know if she ever got better at this, but the idea that Eva would spontaneously and without asking anybody clean the kitchen was a whole new, like it was the least, that one came out of left field for me, that she actually gone and cleaned my beautiful duck roux without asking. Anyways, I gave her a look that she always remembered and always repeated. Loved telling that story over and over again about the time she cleaned my roux long before dinner. Anyways.
Anyone else want to jump in?
Hi, sure. I'm Karen.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Hey, Karen, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too. We're Paul. We're in Vancouver, so we are Eva's former work colleagues. So, man, I think I worked with Eva for over 20 years.
Yeah, I don't remember how long it's been.
Yeah, so we were on the local team in Vancouver. So obviously Eva was on the national Toronto team, and she used to. At the time that I had sort of met her, was Eva was responsible for training us on a completely brand new system.